All right, hey everybody. I'm here with my picks about what's going to happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs, which start tonight. By the time this is uploaded, it'll probably be yesterday that they started. But the NHL has their own bracket challenge website, and I am here. I'm going to make my picks and let you guys see what you think, that kind of thing. But let's jump into it. Starting in the Western Conference, the first series is Chicago versus my hometown, Minnesota Wild. And unfortunately, I am going to have to go with Chicago to win that series. They're just, they're deeper at every position. If they really tried, they could score 10 goals on somebody with all the offensive power they have. Their defense is great. Their weakness is goalies, but they've been doing pretty well this year, so I am going to pick them. I do think Minnesota will win two of the games, but in the end, Chicago will win. And then we'll move on to the second series, which is Anaheim versus Detroit. I think the Ducks are going to take it. It might go to 7 games. It wouldn't surprise me to see it go to 7 games because the teams are pretty equal. But I do think Anaheim's going to take it. They've been proving everybody wrong. And even though they are the second seed and they won the Pacific Division, they are the underdogs in this series. And I just think they're going to prove everybody wrong by beating the Red Wings. I do see it going to 7 games, like I said, but in the end, Anaheim takes it. And then we go on to Vancouver versus the San Jose Sharks. I think this one's going to be another. Don't show that message again. There we go. Sorry about that. I do think in the end on this one, San Jose will take this series. They are pretty equal. I do think San Jose's just got the slight edge. Vancouver, they've been kind of underperforming, but they do have two great goalies, and then Niemi, though, I do believe is going to be a finalist for the Vezina Trophy. So goalies, I'd say, is a wash. Defense, I'd take San Jose's defense any day, especially if they put Brent Burns back there. But with the way Brent Burns has been playing it forward, he's just a great player overall. So I think Brent Burns is going to be a major difference maker in this series, and I don't think Vancouver has a difference maker, other than the Sedins, but they've been kind of slowing down. We'll see. I do think this one goes 6 games, but I do think San Jose takes it. And then we get to the West, and probably the most interesting series to watch, St. Louis versus the LA Kings. These two are even across the board. Their defense is great. They have fantastic goalies. Their forwards are phenomenal. It's just these two are as equal as you could possibly get in the entire league. I do think St. Louis is going to take it. It is going to go 7 games. St. Louis will take it in the end. Just because they're hungry after last year, the Kings sweeping them out of the second round. I think the Blues are going to use that to their advantage and get a step up on the Kings. And then we'll move over to the East. First series, Penguins-Islanders. This one should be a no-brainer. It's got to be the Penguins. I do think the Islanders will win at least 1 game. But I do think Penguins take it in 5. The Penguins are just too deep everywhere for them not to win that one. And then we'll move on to Montreal-Ottawa. I think Montreal wins. I'll put this in 6 just because I know Carlson's back for the Senators. I know they've done pretty well without him. I think now that he's back, he'll provide a boost, but I do think the way Montreal's been playing this year, I think they take that series. And then we move on to the third series in the East with the Capitals versus the New York Rangers. This is the 4th time in 5 years that these two have met in the playoffs, with the Capitals winning 3 of them, I think. No, they won 2 of them. That's right, they won 2 of them, and the Rangers won 1 last year. So this one, I do think in the end the Rangers come back with Rick Nash being the difference maker. Stepping up with a new team in the playoffs. I know Ovechkin's riding hot right now, scoring goals like crazy, but I just think Rick Nash is going to handle the pressure very, very well. And then when you got Henrik Lundqvist, a perennial Vezina candidate, you can't go wrong with the Rangers there. I do think this one's going to go 7 games, though, as well. It's going to be a tough one, but in the end, the Rangers take it, I think. And then we get to probably the most interesting series in the entire first round, East and West, the Boston Bruins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Boston's going to take it. They're just too deep as a team. I do think the Maple Leafs will win 2 games. Same with the Chicago-Minnesota series. I do think the Leafs, the underdogs, will take 2 of the games, but in the end, the bigger, better team is going to win. So let's save round 1, move on to round 2, and that gives us Chicago, San Jose, or Anaheim, St. Louis. I am going to go with Chicago over San Jose and St. Louis over the Ducks. I do like the Ducks, but St. Louis, like I said, after beating the Kings, is just going to go nuts on the postseason. They don't have an option for series length in the rest of the rounds, but I think St. Louis beats the Ducks in about 5 or 6. Chicago beats the Sharks in 6 or 7, I'd say. And then we'll move on to the East. Penguins are going to beat the Rangers. This one's going to go 7 games as well. I just have that feeling. But in the end, Penguins overcome and live up to the expectations. And then we go to the last series in the second round, Montreal-Boston. Boston is going to show that they should have won the Northeast Division. And as the better team, they're going to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So now we go down to the third round. Chicago, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Boston. Chicago is just so good this year. Same with Pittsburgh. You can't go wrong picking them making the Stanley Cup final. That is what I have. I do think Chicago's going to beat St. Louis in 6 games. St. Louis is going to be tough, like I said, the entire playoffs. But Chicago will win in 6 games, I say. And then we go to the East, Pittsburgh, Boston. This one's got that Iginla trade backstory. So it'll be interesting to watch that one as well. I'm not a big Eastern Conference fan. I like the West a lot better, but I'd definitely watch every game of that series just to see what happens. And hopefully Crosby will be back by then, so, I do think Pittsburgh will end up taking that one. That one will probably be 7 games as well. And then we move on to the Stanley Cup final. A lot of people are picking them, and that's because they are the 2 best teams in the league this year, and deservedly so. They're just fantastic all around. Chicago or Pittsburgh, I'm going to say if Crosby's back, I might have to say Pittsburgh. But since we don't know for sure, like I said in the previous round, he should be back, but if he's not, I'm going to say Chicago takes it. And the tiebreaker, I'm going to say there are 23 goals scored by both teams total in the finals. So that is my bracket, folks. If you agree with me, leave a comment, whatever. If you think I'm wrong on something, you can also leave a comment. Like, subscribe, all that kind of thing. And you guys can always go to this playoffschallenge.nhl.com, fill out your own bracket. You got to do it by, I think there's 4 more hours, 7 p.m. Central Time today. So there it is. I will see you guys next time.